Hello, and welcome to the Afterspark podcast, an episode-by-episode recap of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. I'm Alice.
And I'm Specs.
And today we are going to be talking about episode number 86, the Quintesson Journal. Let's talk about giant robots today, shall we?
And five-faced journalists.
We'll see if you have five-faced journalists. You actually have 25. That's the question.
Yes.
But today, we open with war! But not the one between the Autobots and Decepticons.
It's interplanetary war! The Cybertronian War is merely a civil war, not an interplanetary war. This is an important distinction.
I mean, I suppose you could make an argument that they made it interplanetary when they went to Earth, technically.
Well, they're not fighting Earth.
That's true. They're just, smashing and grabbing things from Earth. Does that count?
Kinda. Maybe. Who knows? Spike and Rodimus are overseeing some kind of peace negotiations with two alien races from the planet Zetaxis and Lenark.
Spike tells both groups to shake hands and play nice. They do not.
Honestly, how are these guys qualified for this?
I mean, when half of your population is dead through war, who is in charge of that?
Mostly I'm just wondering how Rodimus and Spike are the ones that are qualified.
Rodimus is technically the leader of the Autobots, so him I understand.
He doesn't want to be there.
And we do make a point. They do make a point of basically telling us that Spike is technically a diplomat from Earth, so...
Yes, but other people's peace talks. They can't even manage their own species peace talks.
Yes, that is true. Meanwhile, though, elsewhere, Predaking is fucking off in space.
It's funny how he seems to be the combiner that likes being combined the most.
Or certainly the one we see very frequently.
Yeah.
Nearby, a golden cylinder falls to a planet's surface and begins transmitting an old Quintesson signal.
Predaking calls Cyclonus and tells him, oh hey, he's gonna check out a weird signal.
Cyclonus warns him that the Autobots have also likely picked up the signal and tells Predaking that he will join him shortly.
The Autobots have indeed picked up the weird signal as Percy calls a very confused Skylynx to investigate.
Why is he confused? Because he can't decide if he's an Autobot or a Decepticon today.
He's gotten himself a little Decepticon facial tattoo today.
Outback and Blaster are on board Skylynx, and the three head off to investigate the signal.
Once they arrive up to the planet, Skylynx says he can't land and that he'll have to drop them.
Which, fine. The most amusing thing about this scene, however, is that Blaster, while he's in boombox mode, and two of his cassettes in cassette mode just sort of waddle over to the door.
I guess this was a choice to minimize animation, but it's so fucking weird.
Hilarious.
Don't worry, that's nothing compared to Outback's swan dive to the ground.
But they all land safely. The non-mobile bots transform and they head off into the forest.
Skylynx says that he'll be following them from above.
Outback and Blaster get grabbed by some sentient vines, but Steeljaw is able to free Outback.
And then Outback and Steeljaw manage to free Blaster.
Meanwhile, Predaking has split into his individual components, but for reasons unknown, they do not actually split up to look for the signal, so this just doesn't seem very helpful.
They like being together.
Team building exercise.
Hooray! Team building!
Headstrong, however, is casually destroying the local flora as the group travels through the forest.
Blaster and company find the cylinder first.
Skylynx has a momentary brain fart moment and sends a tree crashing down on the Autobots accidentally.
He might be Beauty and Grace, but he has forgotten that in this second.
He just really doesn't like trees, okay?
Yeah. A Quintesson projection begins playing from the cylinder.
And this thing is apparently a journal that contains a complete record of the Quintesson's commercial enterprises' technical plans and special projects.
Well, someone wasn't practicing data security.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you just shouldn't leave that lying around, but okay.
Yeah. The Predacons arrive and attack.
Blaster calls for Skylynx, but Dive Bomb effectively, bounces off Skylynx as Skylynx goes in to help his friends.
The Predacons reform Predaking specifically because of this and attack Skylynx. I mean, he's a big boy.
He is a big boy. They take out yet another tree.
So much hate on trees today. Skylynx plays Predaking like a fiddle and gets both himself and the other Autobots out of there while Predaking crashes into the ground.
Unfortunately, as they are escaping, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps arrive and begin shooting at them.
You know, Scourge and the Sweeps wouldn't be a half-bad band name, at least until you get sued into oblivion by Hasbro.
And you would be sued into oblivion by Hasbro.
Probably. A big warp gate grabs Skylynx and pulls him in.
A gate that Cyclonus can't apparently see, because he comments, "They vanished, but where?"
We think the gate was supposed to appear, grab Skylynx, and then disappear, but if so, they do a super bad job showing this series of events.
Skylynx, however, is pulled through the portal and onto a Quintesson ship.
The Quintessons thank them for retrieving, or returning their journal.
One of the Quintessons tosses Outback Blaster and the cassettes into a cell, while insinuating they've disabled Skylynx's ability to transform.
Outback is able to convince the Sharkticon guard to disable the energy bars by offering him Energon. Hooray, Energon goodies. They're sometimes good for things.
But Blaster then shoots him when he goes for the Energon goodie, to which I just have to say, are you fucking kidding me? They didn't even take their damn guns?
The Quintessons are extremely convinced of their superiority, okay?
Apparently. But even more bafflingly, the journal was just floating in an energy field nearby, so Outback just reaches up and grabs it, and they go about their merry fucking way.
Hooray. No one here is thinking with anything.
No, not at all. 5 heads, no brains, got it.
The Autobots have the brain cells today, except they're juggling them. So they hop on Skylynx, who is still able to fly despite being unable to transform.
Their whole capture and imprisonment seems very poorly thought out. Dear Quintessons, I have some notes.
Yeah. Well, I guess whoever was in charge of the journal plans has probably left them. Or they got stolen from another Quintesson.
Who fucking knows? As usual, though, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire, and they fly right into Cyclonus, Predaking, Galvatron, Scourge, and the Sweeps.
Real long band name there, guys. Predaking really wants to kill Skylynx, but Galvatron takes offense at someone else making decisions and punches him when he doesn't listen.
Galvatron orders the group to follow the Quintesson ship after they grab the journal off the Autobots.
Meanwhile, the peace talks are going just great. Just great, thank you.
Both sides are trying to kill each other at the table, as you do.
They leave, basically vowing to kill each other.
Spike decides to call a break in the proceedings, which is a good idea because no one's in the room but him and Rodimus at this point.
We see the Quintessons are selling weapons to both sides, but as they are experiencing difficulties, their shipment of the ultimate weapon, gee, this is not the first time we've heard of an ultimate weapon, has been delayed.
Yeah, are we so sure they didn't mislabel that other episode?
Maybe.
The Decepticons land on a small uncharted planet to investigate their newest prize, the journal.
Cyclonus demands that Predaking get it to play, but he doesn't know how. So Galvatron decides to do some IT support. Why would you ask Predaking, the combiner, to do IT support?
Presumably it was because he, saw the Autobots interacting with it.
Oh.
But, I mean, he's still probably a better choice than Galvatron, whose, IT support is, throwing it on the ground.
Yes, but I mean, the whole thing with combiners is that
most of the time they're not very bright.
Yes.
Well, neither is Galvatron, so it works.
I guess. Because this is an 80s cartoon, throwing it on the ground works, and the recording from before continues.
Revealing that the Quintessons' business deals are always to their benefit, and typically destroy and or massively impact the planets they're selling to in a very negative way.
Galvatron is like, this is useless! And hits the journal again.
The recording then talks about purposefully manipulating the war between
Zetaxis?
I don't know if it's Zetaxis or yeah, whatever, we're gonna go with that. Zetaxis and Lanark.
The Autobots have been able to follow the Decepticons, and upon seeing this, attack to try and get the journal back.
The Quintessons show up and grab the journal while the other two groups are fighting.
The Autobots and Decepticons begin to chase after the Quintessons, complete with flying out back.
I'm confused as to why Galvatron even wants this thing, because he called it useless, and God, I miss Megatron. He'd take one look at this thing and be like, blackmail, as he should!
Yeah, I mean, Galvatron just wants it because he doesn't want anyone else to have it. He's possessive even though it's useless.
This is true.
Back on Cybertron, we're not just fighting at the table, we're fighting on the table now.
Rodimus, Ultra Magnus, and Spike have to physically separate the two groups to break up the fighting.
Let's hope they didn't bring large entourages, or else they're probably brawling in the streets. Rodimus compares them to Earth wrestling, but Spike points out that at least that's fake, which, important, yes, kebab is important to note.
The two groups split and go to individually call the Quintessons.
Who have to take the calls in quick succession. God, they're good customer service issues.
Yep, and quite frankly, I love hearing the Quintessons have to do their best customer service voice in this scene. It's pretty fucking funny.
Yes, yes. The Decepticons attack the Quintesson ship, and the Quintessons disappear into another warp gate to escape. But the Autobots were already on the outside of their ship.
And Skylinks tears into the ship with his teeth and awesome mouth laser, and they are able to retrieve the journal.
No, we don't know how he knew it was in that part of the ship, but the episode's almost over, so let's roll with it.
The Autobots head back to the peace conference.
At the peace conference, Rodimus is bodily throwing the representatives into chairs to try getting something done around here.
This works for about 3 seconds before the two groups start attacking each other again.
Skylink's Kool-Aid Man's his way through a wall, which we really haven't said that sentence in a while. And then the Autobots hop on out with the journal.
Perfectly playing another part of the journal that's still somehow talking about the war between the two fighting groups.
God, I wonder if this was well, no, it couldn't have been an infomercial.
I mean, here's an ad. We're gonna fuck you over when we sell you stuff. Give us money.
Both groups are mad at the Quintessons, who basically tell them they're stupid, and the Quintessons are going to blow up their planets with the bombs they brought.
Why they don't just sell these bombs to, like, other people and take off with their money is beyond me, but okay.
Conveniently, the Quintesson ship carrying the bombs passes by Cybertron, so Rodimus and Cyclonus hop onto Skylinks, go up into space, and shoot the Quintesson ship down with handguns!
Back at the peace conference, the two groups finally come to terms as Rodimus and Ultra Magnus lament how the only ones who benefited from the centuries of war were the Quintessons. Pot, kettle, something, something, something. Join us next time for episode 87, the big broadcast of 2006, which in typical Transformers fashion actually should have come before this episode because the events in that episode set up the Golden Cylinder's origin and why it was floating in fucking space.
Hooray! Oh god, there's so much happening here, and
there is a lot happening here.
Yeah.
Skylinks was a delight. Yeah.
Outback was there.
Outback was there. I did thoroughly enjoy seeing Rodimus have to, like, corral these two alien races like children. That was also pretty funny.
And these are, like, planetary leaders, so it's like imagining, say, King Charles and
having a
Joe
throwdown
Biden.
with Biden. Yeah. That is pretty funny.
Alright. Alice has fanfic for us today, if you would kindly take it away.
Alright, so one of the fics for today is Grand Celebrations Aren't Their Thing by Eve DeWalrus. Continuity is IDW, rating is G, it is Slash, our pairing is Minimus Samus and Megatron, who are also our characters. In summary, it's Minimus and Megatron's anniversary, and this is just a wildcard fic that I liked, so it's a one-shot. And the other one is Whirlybird by
Trinary.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Our continuity is Rescue Bots Academy. It's rated G. It's Jen. There are no pairings. Our characters are Rescue Bots Whirl. That's different from Other Whirl. But also, yes, Other Whirl.
IDW Whirl.
Kind of.
Sort of.
Cody and Heatwave. In summary, Cody speeds up, turns to the corner, and blinks. There's a girl hanging off a whirl. She looks about 12, with a romper, green pigtails, and band-aids on her knees. Her legs kick in the air where she dangles from Whirl's hand. She spots Cody and freezes. Her one eye is a vibrant, unnatural yellow. There's an Autobot symbol on the romper with the missing eye crossed out. She has big, clunky army boots, freckles, and 2 machine guns strapped to her back. Cody says. You didn't see nothing, the girl hisses. Whirl says, you won't tell anyone, will you, Cody? Cody has no idea what there is to tell, or who he'd tell it to, so no. Good. Whirl lowers her hand until the girl's boots hit the ground. The girl dusts herself off and gives Cody a terrifying gap-toothed grin. Whirl offers her own tentative smile. Have you met my dad? It's another wild card pick. And it's a one-shot. And it's actually not that long, so I'm like, I feel like that summary was very long, but we had to get the punchline. It's both Whirls existing in the same place, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Whirl. I'm assuming it's the...
It would presumably be the Whirl that exists in the Rescue Bots, and I can't remember if Whirl is Scraplets in this one. In the comic, Whirl basically adopts a bunch of Scraplets.
In one of the holiday issues.
Yeah, but then it comes back at the very end of fucking Lost Light, so, like, it's so fucking weird. But it's like, yes, this one-off thing that happened in a holiday issue comes back from beyond the grave. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so sometimes we've seen, like, you know, the Whirl and Rescue Bots is Whirl's kid, or specifically the Scraplets, robot-shaped. You know, pick one.
They imprinted.
Yeah, no, it's actually really cute.
Mm-hmm. That just about wraps it up for us today. Remember to check us out on Tumblr or Pillowfort as Afterspark-podcast for any additional information, show notes, or links we may have mentioned. You can also find us on Twitter at AftersparkPod, all one word, and various other locations by searching for Afterspark podcasts such as AO3, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, just to name a few. And feel free to send us questions on Tumblr, YouTube, or AO3. Till next time, I'm Specs.
And I'm Alice.
Toodles!
Oh my god! What are you doing in that toilet? Besides the mocking me angle, which is always true.